So I was recently invited to the CES 2026 showcase in Las Vegas by Lenovo, Govee, and a handful of other companies. And it was an amazing and unforgettable experience. But it was also incredibly exhausting. And if you've ever been to any type of massive expo that spans multiple days, I'm sure you can attest, because there's just so much going on within a small window, and there's a lot of bouncing around required from hotel to hotel, venue to venue, that it can start to feel a little overwhelming real fast. One minute I'm at the Venetian, and then I have to shuttle or Uber over to the Wynn, and then there's the Mandalay Bay, next up the Las Vegas Convention Center, and to cap the night off, a massive Lenovo Tech World keynote inside of the incredibly immersive Las Vegas Sphere, which was absolutely epic, by the way, even the Gwen Stefani concert that followed. But yeah, there was a lot of excitement, but boy, do you really have to pace yourself or risk burning out in a single day. Anyway, there was a lot of fascinating tech at this event. Robots and AI was everywhere, no cap, but I'm going to be keeping my coverage focused on the content that I primarily publish on this channel. And I think I'm going to break things up by video to better help digest the information. So for this particular video, I'm going to be focusing on Lenovo, which was one of the largest, if not the largest host of the entire event. Their fingerprints were all over CES this year, and overall, I think they did an incredible job of bringing forth their vision for the future for both business to business as well as business to consumer endeavors. First, I want to start with the early media press event that I attended for Lenovo prior to the official CES commencement on January 6th. Located off the beaten path of the main Las Vegas Strip, Lenovo rented out the entire Brooklyn Bowl restaurant and entertainment facility to give media an early access preview to their latest CES 2026 products and early concept prototypes. They kicked off the event with first walking a small group of press consisting of reporters, bloggers, content creators, etc. through the 2026 product lineup, as well as providing a preview to Kira before it was officially unveiled at the Lenovo keynote at the Sphere. And once that was all wrapped up, we were allowed to go hands-on inside of pre-designated mini booths known as studios. On the mobile side, Lenovo unveiled the Motorola Razr Fold that looks really cool. This is essentially a smartphone and mini tablet hybrid, featuring a 6.6-inch 2K external OLED display that can be unfolded to unveil a massive 8.1-inch display for enhanced immersion and productivity. And while it's not explicitly confirmed just yet, this display is rumored to support up to 120Hz refresh rate, and it's rumored to have full Dolby Vision recording support. And it's also going to be offered in two variations, which they're calling Black and Blue for the first color wave and Lily White for the second. The display is also going to feature stylus support utilizing the Model Pen Ultra, and the camera specs that it will feature are as shown. Android 16 will likely be the OS, but outside of these specs, however, we don't know much else at this stage. Not even a ballpark on pricing. Okay, so the Lenovo ThinkBook Plus Gen 7 Auto Twist. I feel like this is a product where Lenovo is just flexing their muscles, because this ThinkBook Gen 7 feels somewhat alive. Lately, I've been calling it a roboticized laptop. It's a thin and light, with the weight coming in at just over 3 pounds, and it has a 14-inch 2K touch compatible OLED display. But what takes this one to the next level is the motorized hinge. This configuration allows for either manual or auto angle adjustments, unachievable by a traditional laptop build. For me, it was the auto position tracking that was the most impressive. Here I'm simply pacing back and forth in front of the ThinkBook as it tracks my movements. I'm told that this software is also able to identify multiple speakers, so the display can literally pivot to the current speaker as well as provide translation for various languages. When it launches sometime in June, it'll be featuring an Intel Panther Lake chipset, and the initial MSRP is expected to be around $1,600. The ThinkPad X1 Carbon Gen 14 Aura Edition. I thought this one was extremely fascinating given its organic modular design. This has to be one of the most repair-friendly designs I've ever laid eyes on. There is complete, unimpeded access to both the top and bottom of the internal hardware. Virtually all components are hot swappable on this unit. The battery, the motherboard, even the inbuilt speakers. And speaking of motherboards, as you can see, over previous iterations, the motherboard overall footprint has been significantly reduced. This unit will feature the Intel Core Ultra X7 Series 3 processor. And check this out, you can have this laptop configured in either Windows 11 or Linux. The display features a resolution of 2.8K with an OLED panel, VRR in a DCI-P3 of 100%, though the 58 watt-hour battery is definitely a little underwhelming. Now the ThinkPad Rollable XD is next up, which Lenovo is calling a proof of concept innovation. This just means that it's still a prototype in development, but I have to say that it is staggeringly gorgeous in person. I'm particularly impressed with how streamlined and fluid the vertical expanding display appears to be. Really no noticeable seams or lines anywhere. And to add to the vertically expanding concept, this screen also features a rear display. You can expand or collapse the screen using swipe gestures as shown. And you can see that Lenovo Kira symbol as well as the virtual agent. And really quickly, Kira is Lenovo's AI super agent, which was unveiled at the CES keynote. And its primary objective is to bring better continuity between multiple devices, cell phones, tablets, laptops, even wearables. All in all, this is a real head turner and easily stands out in the crowd. We don't have a ton of spec information or pricing or even expected release date, unfortunately, but it's definitely one to keep an eye on because there's nothing quite like it on the market today. And speaking of concepts, the Lenovo Legion Pro Rollable applies this display expanding vision to a more gaming focused consumer. This one is definitely more niche, and you'll see why I say that in just a sec. But rather than expanding vertically for better productivity, the Legion Pro Rollable actually expands horizontally. At its core, it's a 16-inch top-of-the-line gaming laptop, leveraging an Intel Core processor and a freaking RTX 5090 laptop GPU. However, that native 16-inch display is capable of expanding 21.5 inches or even to a full 24 inches. Now, Lenovo says the core principle of this portable widescreen design is to allow esports athletes to better train their peripheral vision when unaccompanied by a dedicated widescreen monitor, which is definitely a more niche target without a doubt. From a macro standpoint, I think this is seriously a cool concept. However, if you're someone that's sensitive to display uniformity, this rollable design is definitely not as visually seamless to my eye as the vertically expanding concept. Of course, Lenovo will be continuing with their standard Legion laptop lineup, which for 2026 will include the Legion 7A, the Legion 5i, the Legion 5A Ryzen AI 400, the Legion 5A Ryzen 200, and for some reason, the Legion 9i wasn't anywhere to be found at the CES event. But overall, Lenovo is bringing some serious OLED fire, literally across the board. But now, I want to shift gears to a product that I know a lot of you guys have been waiting to hear on, and that is the Legion Go 2 Z2E native SteamOS model, which was unveiled at CES. Now, a bit of a funny story to kick this off. Originally, the Legion Go 2 SteamOS model was nowhere to be found on the floor at the press release. I had to personally inquire about it, where I found that it was somewhere hidden in the back. And once they brought it out, the battery was actually dead. Yeah, I think the Legion Go 2 kind of got lost in the excitement of everything else. Anyway, I immediately threw it on the charger and prayed that I'd have enough time to gather footage before my time actually ran out at the press release. Now, when I did get it powered up, I had to find someone else to actually get it logged in to the Steam UI. When I did get logged in, unfortunately, there were no games downloaded, and by this time, my time was running pretty thin. So guys, I apologize for not being able to obtain actual gameplay footage, but I was able to poke around in the settings and the menus a bit. You can see that the system was running on the SteamOS 3.9 version, and you can see the OS code name, BIOS information as well, the client build date, web build date, as well as confirmation that it is indeed configured on the AMD Ryzen Z2 Extreme model. TDP profiles also appear to be functioning properly. However, it does look like RGB controls are still lacking, which isn't a huge deal because there are workarounds for that. But one thing I was particularly intrigued about when it comes to the SteamOS model versus Windows 11 is if there will be different colorways to differentiate them, similarly to what they did with the Legion Go S models. And the answer is nope, not a single difference. Both versions, Windows 11 and SteamOS, will both feature the Eclipse black color variant. And literally, the only differentiating factor is going to be the Steam logo on the upper function button on the left controller, which does make me wonder if Lenovo will eventually sell separate controllers for the SteamOS version just as they're doing for Windows 11. But at any rate, I can tell you, based on what I have in front of me right now, for timing, the Legion Go S Z2E SteamOS model, to my surprise, may not even see stores until June 2026. Now, I was actually expecting April at the latest, but I think the fact that we're looking at June signifies that there are still a number of kinks that need to be ironed out for SteamOS in order to ensure complete compatibility with the Go 2. But the silver lining is that if you do own the Windows Go 2 version, you can rest assured that it's more than likely going to have 100% controller support and compatibility, at least at some point in time. However, given that we're forecasting so far out in the future for this SteamOS release, the uncertainty of exactly where things are going to be in terms of the demand for RAM and solid-state drives is a little bit concerning. According to Lenovo, at the time of this video, the Legion Go 2 SteamOS is going to have an initial MSRP of $1,199, and I'm assuming that that is specific to the 1 terabyte model. But with everything that's going on right now, it's hard to say that that's 100% guaranteed. So, my personal advice, if you're at all interested in the Legion Go 2, is to snatch up the Windows version now, if you can catch it back in stock, because even that is becoming exceedingly more difficult. But at the end of the day, it's going to be very interesting to see how that all plays out, as well as how the finished, polished version of SteamOS performs with the Legion Go 2. Now, if you guys have any specific product questions or anything else, make sure to drop a comment down below. Keep an eye out for more CES content. And as always, thanks for watching and supporting the channel. And I'll see you guys in the next one.